Alright, folks, welcome to Buoyancy, a city builder that takes place on the water. We're starting today here in Dragon City. As I am Lord Dragon, it's only fitting I rule over Dragon City. So, a little bit about Buoyancy. It's early access. It released back in August of 2019. And there's been some updates. I happened to take advantage of a Steam winter sale and purchased it for under $10. I think the sale is still going on, but I'm not sure on that. I have played a little bit just to see what the game is about, so we're gonna just explore here the next 15-20 minutes and take a look at it. So you can see we have our resources down the side. Your standard wood, metal, plastic, scrap metal, junk, and dirt. You have some miscellaneous items in here, and your food items. We're going to start with 80 wood, 30 plastic, 20 scrap metal, 15 seaweed, 15 fish, and 20 beer. Drink of choice, hey? Over here we've got our population, which is currently at 10. Idle population means people simply aren't working. Your specialists are people who work they've been assigned to a building as a worker. You have your laborers, and they just kind of do everything that's required that's not involving working in a building. And then your guards and your rangers, which have to do with, obviously, fighting. You got your happiness, nourishment, hunger, thirst, and cousin rating, which deals with procreation and incest. So, basically, the more that your villagers reproduce without adding new villagers, the higher your cousin rating is, more incest, and once it gets high enough, you start having some issues with your walk speed, nourishment, happiness, accidents, those types of things. So let's take a look here at our build menu. So we have a whole bunch of build items. We can separate them out by using the different tabs here. We're just going to go ahead and go with all of them. Now you got to kind of understand a little bit about the buildings before you start building them. Scavenger is what we're going to start off with. You can see scavenges surrounding water for submerged wood and scrap metal, kind of some basics that are needed. It shouldn't be crowded to operate efficiently, so we want to keep 100% efficiency, so you want to kind of keep it separated. So we'll go ahead and just lay a platform down here, pop the scavenger on down this way, and then our villagers will start gathering the necessary items from our town center, which is just a storage unit, and start building the scavenger hunt. We also want to get down a forager. They gather floating seaweed, which is a food item, and junk, which is another resource that can be broken down into other more useful resources. This one also shouldn't be crowded, and that's kind of the going rule for the different gathering buildings, the different resource buildings. So we're going to drop them kind of close to the scavenger, but still far enough away that it shouldn't affect the efficiency. And then this kind of quadrant can be for resource gathering, with the foragers and scavengers, and once we go get some more wood, we can build a fisher. And same concept, they can't be too close for efficiency purposes. And you can see here that your resources are just kind of out here drifting. There is some stationary resources like this trash pile over here that we will kind of point in the direction to make our way that way. The drifting resources you kind of just float upon, and oh, there's a survivor's raft. Let's go check that out. The resources just kind of float up and gather on your platforms and then are hauled back to the storehouse by the laborers. Now when we're moving, you got people rowing, which is kind of neat. They do a little action there. You can also rotate your city, so it's, you know, if you want your scavenger forward, then your scavenger will go forward, kind of thing. Now see, if we had a fisher, we would have an increased gathering of fish. We do have a kelp forest, so, I mean a forager, so they would go ahead and start gathering the kelp at a higher rate, the seaweed. But we're shooting for this raft over here. We'll hit the trash pile and then maybe come back to the kelp forest and school of fish. Now the trash is going to be important because we're going to gather, if I can click on it, we're going to be gathering some junk and some scrap metal. What we will eventually get is a recycler and smelter to help us make some more resources. So the smelter is going to give us metal by using scrap metal, melting it down, and the recycler recycles the junk and finds plastic, scrap metal, and wood. So when we come across survivors, we can rescue them, leave them, demand resources, take them prisoner, or eat them. For now, we're going to go ahead and rescue them. I don't think we're hungry enough to start eating people. You can see there's a boost that applies once you're within the gold ring here of the stationary resource. So they'll sit here and they'll gather, they'll search through the trash pile gathering the junk and the scrap metal, and once these get down to 0, it just kind of goes away and we'll move on. In the meantime, I think we have enough wood to maybe get a fisher out there now. We'll just kind of shoot him out to the side here. Maybe. 20 wood, and we have 22. This will kind of be like our fishing quadrant over here. You can see there's a whole slew of other buildings. We've got a deep diver who's going to find crude oil and dirt, which is important if you make a greenhouse to start growing grains. Grains, of course, will make beer in the brewery. It will also make bread in the bakery. We have an evaporator, and that of course is going to get us fresh water by boiling seawater. Trash pile is depleted. There's a few different ways that you can kind of move around. As you can see, I'm clicking on these stationary items and click and move here. You can also right click. Right clicking will take you anywhere you want to go. And we made it. You know what I'm curious about is how they found themselves out in the middle of a sea, an ocean, on a platform with a storehouse. Did they just fall from the sky and end up there? Was this planned? I don't know many people that just say, hey, let's go out in the middle of the ocean on a rickety platform and see what we come across. But it kind of reminds me of Waterworld. I don't know how many of you have seen Waterworld with Kevin Costner, but that was a very enjoyable movie back in the day. Now, I also don't know if there's like a border anywhere, or if it's just a big giant ocean. I would imagine you gotta run into the end of the world somewhere, but unless it's one of those where you get to the edge of the map and you just start on the other edge of the map. You can see as they fish, the resource will pile up in a crate, and then they'll come gather the crate and take it back to the storehouse. We don't have a very good fisher. There we go, he got one. So while we're here, we can go ahead and I guess start. Maybe let's get a storehouse in here. Another storehouse. 600 seems like a lot, but once you start gathering your resources, it fills up pretty darn quick. So that's going to cost us 40 wood and 40 metals, so we're not even going to be able to finish that yet. Which means we are going to want to build a smelter. So let's go ahead and actually pause that after we've wasted all our wood. I can't even put this down. We don't have 5 wood to put it down. Well, that's my bad. Fisher and a slow gatherer. So while we're waiting, we've got New Year's coming up. Anybody have any New Year's resolutions that are good? Personally, I've just got the boring same old, exercise more, eat more, well, eat healthier, not necessarily eat more, but eat healthier. I would love to get some more sleep. That would be fantastic. We'll hit up this driftwood pile next to get our wood resources piled up so we can build some more buildings. We don't have to really sit here the entire time and gather everything, but it's nice to use up the resource while we're here. And I did see a trade post over that way, so kelp only trades for one, I believe, typically, but we might be able to get some other resources. Once you build a shipyard, you can actually establish trade routes, so that's kind of cool. Here's the shipyard, but it's going to cost us 40 wood, 30 metal, and 30 plastic. So that is not going to be necessarily something that we start right away. I thought they were done gathering. They weren't, but we're moving on. Time to get some wood. And as our beer supplies diminish, we want to consider a water evaporator, which is going to cost us 40 wood, 5 metal, and 28 plastic. Then what it does is it uses your wood resource to go ahead and boil the water, and so you got to kind of have a steady supply of wood. Let's go ahead and get that smelter down, so we can get that storehouse built. Now, some of these buildings obviously do not have that efficiency decline the more, when they're close to another building. So we'll kind of make this an industrial area back here to not worry about that. The bridges and such, the platforms in between, do seem to provide enough space to keep that 100% efficiency. And our wood source is depleted. Underwater Peak, School of Fish. Oh, dirt and fish, okay. We're going to hit up this trade post here real quick. And you'll see now that the smelter is done, they'll start taking wood and scrap metal over for it to start producing metal. We do have, I was looking for policies. So you can kind of do some different things with corpse handling. You can toss your deceased villagers into the sea. You can use them as fertilizer in a greenhouse, or you can process them into meat. Now, there are obviously some side effects, but you never know what you're going to need. Under City Encounter, your default behavior is neutral, so there's no bonuses or negatives. Friendly behavior nets you better trade, but disables your towers for 30 seconds if you invade another city. Where hostile makes any city interaction, go to immediate invasion, and also disables the enemy's towers for 30 seconds. So we're going to go friendly for now. We want to be a friendly, I guess, trading area. When trading, your wanted resources are going to have a higher value, obviously. So if we were to trade some of our wood, we would get more as opposed to trading kelp or beer. So let's see what we have. We've got grain, whale, which whale can be harvested into meat and blubber. Flour made into bread. You've got some junk, and you've got some crude oil. So there's nothing really here that we want right now. So an interesting thing, I find it interesting anyway, is that you don't path around these. you actually want to make sure that you back that on up to go around. If you were to say click over here, they go straight through, thereby sinking the little Hermit's Landing, and you get some negative points for that. Your city gains some negative renown. Head over here and check out the survivors. And we'll rescue them. Now we do need to keep kind of an eye on the balance of things, because we can't get too many people to where they start eating all our food and drinking all our beer and water and such. But yeah, I mean, that's buoyancy. So you just kind of build, float around, paddle around, gather resources, build some more, save some people on rafts, do some trading, do some fighting. I'm assuming at some point with all these other, the guard houses, the ranger barracks. You've got the different towers, harpoon, junk, water, etc. Yeah, so I'm kind of excited to see where that leads us. Let me know if you want to see some more. If not, we won't worry about it, and I'll just play by myself. But if you do, we'll do some playtime together, I guess. Alright. We'll call it a day there. I'll see you next time. Have a Happy New Year.